Hello and welcome to another edition of Nightly Scroll. I'm Haley Carania. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with me. We are going to have a great show this Friday. I've got a lot of videos planned for you, so it's going to be very scrolling time heavy. I hope that's okay with everyone. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to answer your questions, of course, so stay tuned for all of that. A gender-bending Tesla terrorist is released, also that she can have access to that life-saving, gender-affirming medication she so desperately needs to take every day. Dewey and Andy will get them to me. Let's get into it. First, I want to tell you about our sponsor for today's show, Fatty 15. I know I'm not the only one who wants to have more energy and wants to feel younger, but how can we slow down the aging process? I'm all ears. So I'm excited to share with you that the guys from C15, from Fatty 15, they are the essential fatty acid to be discovered, the only and first essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. The Fatty 15 co-founder, Dr. Stephanie Van Watson, she discovered the benefits of C15 while she was working with the United States Navy, and studies show that C15 can help strengthen our cells and be a longevity-enhancing nutrient. So C15 can help slow biological aging and repair cells at the cellular level. So we can also help restore long-term wellness. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, vegan, 100% pure C15 supplement. It's vegan-friendly, free of flavors, fillers, allergens, and preservatives, and it has more than 3 times the cellular benefits than omega-3 or fish oil. So I'm having improved energy. I started taking it last week already. So I think probably around like the 3-month mark, I'm really going to feel it. And I've been taking it each night, and then I go to the gym in the morning. I'm feeling good. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help you live healthier and longer. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/scroll. Using code SCROLL at checkout. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. All right, homies, it is time for the show. Nightly Scroll starts now. Okay, this first headline here, a Tesla terrorist gender bender has been released from custody. So Owen McIntyre is a 19-year-old. And I first reported on this when this first happened. This was over almost a month ago. And I thought to myself, it's a girl named Owen. It's a trans. I was confused, as this transgender stuff is. It's very confusing. So yes, this is a girl named Owen, or now she's Owen, whatever. So Owen is facing federal charges now for allegedly tossing 2 Molotov cocktails into a Missouri Tesla dealership last month. She caused hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage to 2 Cybertrucks and 2 charging stations. She was just on spring break, guys. She's a University of Massachusetts physics student, and she was granted a release by a U.S. magistrate, woke as hell, Judge Jessica Hedges. You want to know why Owen was released? Well, because of, quote, serious and ongoing medical needs, which include gender-affirming medical care that requires daily medication, as well as mental health support. McIntyre is also on the autism spectrum, was diagnosed with ADHD and depression, all of which require medications and treatments. And her lawyers have successfully argued that she can't be in prison because she needs to take this gender-affirming care. God forbid the domestic terrorist who allegedly firebombed Teslas doesn't have access to that so-called life-saving, gender-affirming care. That's what the left calls them, gender-affirming drugs, life-saving, but it's really biological sex-denying drugs. That's what this is. And what do those drugs do to the brain? Does anyone know? Do we really have the studies on that yet? Do we know if these depressed, gender-confused, mentally ill individuals really feel better once they're on the drugs? Or is this just a lie that the media tells us and we're supposed, they feed it and we're supposed to eat it up? I don't believe it. Common sense tells me that there's a pretty good chance that a young woman taking testosterone and other hormones may, I don't know, might invoke a proclivity for violent activity and behavior. Maybe like lighting businesses on fire. That's not very ladylike. But the attacks on Tesla rage on in the media. The Wall Street Journal put out this exclusive headline. Tesla board opened search for CEO to succeed Elon Musk. So this was just put out yesterday. And then Tesla put out a statement saying this on X. Earlier today, there was a media report erroneously claiming that the Tesla board had contacted recruitment firms to initiate a CEO search at the company. This is absolutely false, and this was communicated to the media before the report was published. The CEO of Tesla is Elon Musk, and the board is highly confident in his ability to continue executing on the exciting growth plan ahead. And this is Robin Denholm, who works at Tesla. So if the board says that this is not an issue, and apparently they told the Wall Street Journal this, and then the Wall Street Journal ran with it anyway, that's a big problem. Elon Musk wrote this on X in response. It is an extremely bad breach of ethics that the Wall Street Journal would publish a deliberately false article and fail to include an unequivocal denial beforehand by the Tesla board of directors. Why would the Wall Street Journal run this? This just doesn't make any sense. I mean, did they talk to people in the company that claimed this and they didn't check with the board? I don't know. The Wall Street Journal, it's owned by Fox, by the way. Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, and they did an article. I was in an article, and they were very professional. They asked me multiple times to confirm what they were putting in the article. And I mean, at least the journalist that I worked with did her due diligence and, called me multiple times, followed up with me right before the article was going out. Hey, just want to make sure that everything is correct here. So I'm not saying that the Wall Street Journal is part of, the fake news media apparatus. Certainly the journalist that I worked with was professional and did her job. But that doesn't mean that everyone at the company is doing their job. It's interesting. I mean, why would you run something as an exclusive and then this is just embarrassing? A lot of people in the media, they want to be first. They want to get the exclusive. But if it's wrong, you look dumb, So it's, I don't know. The media is certainly the enemy of the people. President Trump has said that, and we're seeing this examples over and over again, just proving him right. Now, I want to talk now about Maryland dad, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Tennessee law enforcement officers who stopped him at a traffic stop back in 2022. Well, they released the footage of this, and I want to show you. Watch.
Good, and you?
All right.
Everything good?
You got a bunch of people in here, don't you?
It's 1 for sick. Yes. Go back to work.
Gotcha. Where are you working at?
Where?
Where?
San Luis, Missouri.
Missouri?
Yes, sir.
San Luis.
Okay.
But I'm from Maryland.
Okay. Now, the reason I stopped you, we was running 75 down through here.
75?
Yeah. Of course, this is 65 through here.
I know. I'm going to 70.
Going 70?
Yeah. What's the limit right now? Is 70 or 65?
It's 65.
I can see it, sir.
You got all your
Because
info?
I see the other, the speed limit. I see the 70.
Yeah, it jumps up and down.
Okay, this guy in the front is picking his nose and then wiping it on his lap, so that's good.
License?
Yeah,
If we can just skip to the end of the video here, the cop that pulled them over, I mean, he says, I'm driving with a suspended license. The cop asks him for his license. Then he says, oh, well, the one thing about my license is that it's actually suspended. So he's driving from Texas through Tennessee all the way to San Luis, Missouri. And, he's got a suspended license. And then here's what the cop kind of came to terms with. Listen to this.
He's hauling these people for money is what he's doing, but Sometimes they commingle dope.
He's hauling these people for money.
There's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know.
We can pull out of this.
They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah.
He's hauling these people for money. I mean, why else would a Maryland man, why else would a Maryland dad go to Texas to pick people up, a car full of people with a suspended license, drive them to San Luis, and then he's going to go back to Maryland? I mean, it seems sketchy to me, and the police officers also thought it was sketchy. So let's just go through Kilmar Abrego Garcia's rap sheet. He's a wife beater, confirmed, because his wife had a protective order out against him for being extremely abusive, throwing her around, punching her in the eye, dragging her by her hair. Disgusting, disgusting behavior. Alleged ties to MS-13. We know this because when he had a deportation order and the judges didn't want to send him back to El Salvador because they were nervous about what gangs would do to him when he got there. Gang members, I don't know. I mean, people who aren't in a gang don't need to worry about what gang members are going to do when you get to jail. So that's suspicious. Obviously, we've seen the tattoos on his hands that allegedly stand for MS-13, the marijuana, the smiley face, the cross, and the skull is supposed to represent MS-13. So we know that. So wife beater, he couldn't go back to jail or be deported to El Salvador because of the gangs. He's got the MS-13 tattoos, and now he's a potential human smuggler. So, yeah. This is why the Democrats are polling at such horrible levels, including Senator Chuck Schumer from New York. He is polling at 17%. But here's a video of him trashing Donald Trump for polling at 43%. Watch.
The polls this week show Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating since they started polling 80 years ago. The lowest. Yes.
There was a poll out today that has your approval rating lower than any other congressional leader at 17%. Are you concerned that you may be a liability for your party?
Polls come and go. Our party is united. We're on our front foot. We're stepping forward, going after Trump, and having real success.
You hear that? Polls come and go. Donald Trump polling at the lowest levels ever in history of polling. Then when the journalist says, hey, but you're actually polling at 17%. What do you say about that? Well, polls come and go. So what is it, Chucky? Do polls come and go, or do they matter? Of course, this is rules for me, not for thee. This is the Democrats' favorite thing to say. This is their favorite, hill to die on, that polls don't matter until they do. Polls don't matter until it's Trump. But Chuck Schumer's polling at such a low level. I mean, he's polling in the teens. That's worse than Trump. I love to see it. Now, we've got poor leadership in the Democrats. They've got nobody. And they keep, putting their stock in these younger squad members like Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. And Jasmine Crockett wants even more power. Watch this. This is a headline that just came out. Jasmine Crockett, she is aiming for a top Democrat spot on the House Oversight Committee. Yep, the top Democrat there is going to resign because he has cancer, and she is eyeing his spot. But she can't even be trusted to tell the truth. She can't even be trusted to act professionally. And anyone interested in oversight should want to hold the government and government officials to account. Jasmine Crockett sent a text message to Politico insinuating that she has this get Trump mentality, but she feels like this is her time to shine, and she's got this momentum in the party and she should seize on the moment. But she's only interested in investigating Trump because she disagrees with him, not because she's interested in holding government officials to account. I mean, does anyone actually believe that Jasmine Crockett would do anything to hold her fellow Democrats accountable? She's a partisan mouthpiece, and she thinks this is a moment She's going to seize the day. She's going to take the spotlight and then use this spotlight to spew garbage about Republicans. But I'd like to remind everyone, and I'd also like to remind Jasmine Crockett, that she's funded through Act Blue. Most Democrats are funded through Act Blue. This is where the campaign donations come through. And she's at the center of an FEC investigation because Texas voters are claiming that their names are attached to donations that they never intended to give her. There was an elderly voter in Texas. He's 73 years old. And he and his wife have no recollection of making 56 donations to Jasmine Crockett for a total of $600. They don't remember making those donations. So Act Blue might be, allegedly, using elderly voters' names to hide where the donations are actually coming from. So before Jasmine Crockett puts her hand up and wants to take this job on the Oversight Committee, maybe she can look in the mirror first and see if she can root out some of the alleged corruption and fraud that may or may not be going on under her own nose on her campaign. And I just also want to remind, if anyone's watching this in Texas, she's up for re-election in 2026. So I hope people remember how she treated Governor Greg Abbott, making fun of his wheelchair, calling him Hot Wheels. And then she, of course, ended up backtracking those comments, saying that, oh, well, I was only calling him Hot Wheels because of the migrant buses that he was sending out of Texas to sanctuary states and cities. So let's see whose policy is more popular among Texan voters come midterm elections. I would put my money on maybe Texans agreeing with Governor Greg Abbott that they don't want to fund illegals. They don't want to foot the bill for all of the resources that they need and all the strain that they're putting on our government. That's just my guess. But speaking of wanting more power, we were talking earlier this week about Stephen A. Smith, famed ESPN host. This week he was talking about the Democrats really have no place to be ripping on President Trump's polling numbers because the Democrats don't have anyone who could beat him. And that's true. We were just talking about, they've got Chuck Schumer, who's polling, close to the single digits. And Stephen A. has now teased that he may or may not run for president. He's talked about this in the past, and now he's got one very big endorsement from POTUS himself. Watch this.
Stephen A. Smith may run for president, as you know. Do you have any advice for Stephen A., if he launches the run?
No, Stephen A. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. I love watching him. He's got great entertainment skills, which is very important. People watch him. A lot of these Democrats I watch, I say they have no chance. I've been pretty good at picking people and picking candidates, and I will tell you, I'd love to see him run.
All right, there you go.
Wow. Would you guys vote for Stephen A. Smith? I want to ask the chat. If you would vote for Stephen A. Smith. He certainly does have that charisma that President Trump was talking about. And President Trump does have this charisma too. And it does. It helps. It helps you in the media. It helps you obviously with voters and connect to voters. Stephen A. Smith, he connects with voters. I don't know whether he would run as a Democrat or independent or Republican. Certainly he would have no shot if he ran as an independent. He seems to be coming more to the middle. He was like a Democrat, but a normal Democrat. So normal Democrats are Republicans these days. So I feel like he would run as a Democrat, but he would be a common sense Democrat. People are saying, nope, never a Democrat. Nope, hell no, nope, no way, no, heck no, he's a big lib, no. And someone said, hell yes, I like Steve a lot. So interesting. But I hope that Stephen A. knows how expensive it is to live in the White House, because according to Michelle Obama, it's really tough living there. Watch.
It's expensive to live in the White House. Many people don't know, I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every bit of food that you eat. You're not paying for housing and the staff in it, but everything, even travel. If you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the plane. It is an expensive proposition, and you're running for 2 years and not earning an income. So all of that was in my mind. How would we manage this? My fears came from the fact that I thought he could win, but I knew he had it in him to make this happen.
Here's my little violin. Here's my small, sad violin for Michelle Obama. Oh, it must be so hard to live in the White House. Oh, I'm so sorry, Michelle. Did you have to pay for your own food? Did you have to pay for your own family's travel? You know who also has to pay for their own food and their own travel? Americans. I have to pay for my own food. I have to pay for my own travel. What about you in the chat? Does anyone have to pay for their own goods and services? Does anyone else have to do that? I mean, we feel your pain. We do. We do feel your pain. It must be very, very hard, especially when you have to live with the butlers and the chefs who make all of your food. Very sad. It's very sad. You know what else? The president of the United States, they don't have to pay rent. They don't have to pay rent. The American taxpayers foot that bill. So, Michelle, imagine if you had to pay rent and food and travel for your family like everybody else. I mean, seriously. Come on. Come on now. And I've never heard anyone else who lives in the White House be upset about this. I've never heard anyone else complain. Not another president, not another first lady, not the second lady, not the vice president. I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this. President Trump, who's in the White House right now, he doesn't even take a salary. He doesn't take a salary. He donated it. Imagine that. He's taking no salary and he's got to pay for his own McDonald's Happy Meal. Does anyone else in the chat feel bad for Michelle Obama? Someone just said, hell yeah, I have to pay my own way. How many homes do they own now? How much is her net worth now? Exactly. Yep, people saying President Trump donated his salary to veterans. He donates his salary to different causes. Someone just said, psh, she's trying to be relatable. It's not working. Yeah. People are not very happy with these comments from Michelle Obama. But fitness is making a comeback now in Ohio. So you may remember President Dwight Eisenhower. He started the presidential physical fitness test back in 1956. And the test, it's changed over the years, but it's essentially a 1 mile run, pull-ups, push-ups, shuttle run, sit-ups, and sit and reach. Do you guys remember the presidential fitness test? Did you guys have to take that? No? You didn't take the presidential fitness test? I did.
No, we never had that.
Andy, you don't remember that?
No, but I remember when Arnold was it Bush One's fitness guy, and Mikey's looking at me like I'm a geriatric, but like he had all the kids doing push-ups and kindergarten copying it. But no, I didn't do it. I didn't do it personally.
Okay, well, I had the presidential fitness test. What about you guys someone said I did in my high school. Someone else said no. Someone said, yeah, it was mandatory when I was a kid. It was mandatory for me. I remember.
We just had Michelle Obama steal our lunches.
Oh my gosh. Even Gen Z remembers Michelle Obama stealing the lunches and making them healthy again. And people were like, she took our strawberry milk and she took our pizza. She replaced it with fruit. Damn her. Yeah. So she's got quite the legacy. All the Gen Zers, they don't like Michelle Obama. That's like their one gripe with her. But yeah, I remember taking the presidential fitness test. It was, I remember the sit and reach is to like, you'd have to measure how far you could reach and see if you could touch your toes and then beyond your toes. I was good at that. and we had the mile run. And I remember one year, the fastest girl in my class, she was out sick the day that we ran the mile. So then I was the fastest, and I got a pumpkin because it was right around Halloween. So they gave me a prize, and I got a pumpkin for being the fastest girl in class, even though I wasn't the fastest girl in class. She was just out sick. So yeah, those are my memories from the presidential fitness test. And I'm a girl, so I'm strong. I work out, but I can't do pull-ups. But Vivek Ramaswamy is running for governor in Ohio. Here's what he had to say about bringing back the presidential fitness test. This is what he wrote on X. Start physical education into kindergarten and bring back the presidential fitness test. It's no coincidence that we see the rise of depression, anxiety, and fentanyl and suicide. At the same time, we see the rise of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. It's up to the states to turn it around. So he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk. Watch this. Here's Vivek doing pull-ups. He's going to try, he's got a Marine drill sergeant there.
We did pull-ups last time.
See that lapel he's got on though.
All right, Sergeant.
Get up there. That's it. Get up there.
1,
Up, down, up,
2,
down, up, down.
3, 4,
That's it. Leadership by example.
5,
You practice it.
6,
You practice what you preach.
7,
That's right. Get up
8.
there. One more. One more. You can beat me.
ooh, 9. He's got to go for 10.
That's it. Pull.
There he goes.
Any more?
Oh, 11. He's got 11.
That's our guy. There we go.
There we go. I'm impressed. I can't do a pull-up or a chin-up or anything like that. So, but I'm a girl. So it doesn't help. But yeah, I love this. I'm all for this. Bring back the presidential fitness test. I totally agree with his sentiment where, the rates of anxiety and depression, it has to coincide and correlate to people being fat and unhealthy. Certainly, you get endorphins from working out. I work out every morning, almost every morning. I make sure that I get my steps in. Sometimes I play tennis. I'm playing tennis with Avita tomorrow morning. I played golf today. You just got to move your body, people. You just got to move your body. But I want to bring up a video now of our good friend, Scott Jennings. So Scott Jennings on CNN, he was a Kentucky lawmaker. Then he went over to CNN. He's like the token conservative, but he stands his ground. We know Scott Jennings. We love Scott Jennings. Here's a video of him absolutely ripping into the panel on CNN about the media hiding Biden. Watch.
And what's worse, a president not having all the information he needs to make a legitimate comment, so he holds back in the moment before being ready to make a comment, or, I don't know, willfully lying to the American people about the condition of the President of the United States, which went on for 4 years in this country.
Yes, it did.
That is totally wrong. That is totally wrong. That is totally wrong.
I hope you read all the books that are coming out. I hope you read all the books that are coming out.
Joe Biden. I mean,
you guys
I don't
are
know if you're a
upset
judge.
that Trump is exhibiting some, I want to get more facts, and I'm going to be lectured by the people who lied to the American people about the condition of the president?
Oh, my God.
No way.
No, but
not going to take it.
That's, first of all, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. Yes, it is.
You think the truth was told? You think the truth was told?
I will say.
Did the White House tell the truth?
I will look forward to this discussion.
Do you all believe the truth was told about Biden?
Huh? I mean, seriously, they're all lying, and they're lying to themselves. I even saw a video of Jasmine Crockett earlier saying she was on MSNBC, I think it was, and they were interviewing her about whether or not she thought Biden was in mental decline, and she just had praise for Biden's mental acuity. Oh, well, I saw President Biden. Well, he was in office and he was great. Are you guys serious? Don't piss on me and tell me it's raining. That is like, everyone saw Biden and how, I don't know, just lost he was. And it was sad. I don't want to see the president of the United States in that state. He was in a state of decline mentally and physically. He needed help walking. He needed help going downstairs. He couldn't even walk up the stairs without tripping multiple times. He would go shake nobody's hand at the end of a speech. I mean, it was really, really sad what we saw. And for the media to perpetuate the lie that he was totally fine, they're insulting the intelligence of the American people. But thankfully, we have Scott Jennings to set the record straight. At least we know we're not crazy. But he posted this on X this morning. And here's a picture of Scott Jennings with President Trump. And he blurred the photo that President Trump is holding up. And he said something big is coming. Stay tuned, with the eyeball emoji and 3 American flags. And I think that President Trump is going to want Scott Jennings to run for Mitch McConnell's seat in Kentucky. But then he was kind of like, I don't know. He was kind of like, not answering the question. He was asked about it. Someone in the media asked Scott Jennings, like, are you going to run? And he was like, well, there's a lot of time and the president will ask whoever he wants to. And he was kind of just, playing coy about the whole thing. What do you think? Should Scott Jennings throw his hat in the ring? Should he get back into politics? I mean, CNN, I think the American people will be better off if Scott Jennings is in office. And if he's serving the American people again, surely CNN can find another token Republican to beat up on. So I would like to see Scott Jennings run. But yeah, everyone in the chat agrees. He's running for Senate. Yep, absolutely. Yes. Mitch needs to go. Good. Let him run again. Yes, yes, hell yes. So, hey, I'm just saying, Scott Jennings, I want you to run. Everyone in the chat, all my homies in the chat want you to run. President Trump wants you to run, maybe. I think it's a done deal. I really do. Someone else who he's just got all the jobs in the world right now is Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, not only is he Secretary of State and he's doing a great job, we also know now that Mike Waltz has been reassigned. He is no longer National Security Advisor. He is now Ambassador to the UN. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, is also taking on the job of National Security Advisor, as well as some other jobs in the White House. So Vice President J.D. Vance, he put this on X last night. So Burgess Everett tweeted, I believe Marco Rubio is now Secretary of State, National Security Advisor, acting USAID admin, and acting archivist. And Vice President Vance responded saying, I think he can take on a bit more if only there was a job opening for a devout Catholic, which I think is hilarious. Insinuating that maybe Marco Rubio could take on the job as the next pope. And Mike Lee got in on the fun. He tweeted this. It's obviously AI, but Marco Rubio dressed as the pope, and he said, I'm just saying he can wear many hats. AI is crazy. I can't believe we could just whip up a photo now of former senator, now Secretary of State, Marco Rubio as the Pope. It's just, the opportunities are endless. But now, there's a video that I want to share before we get into scrolling time. This was very funny. So Tony Kinnett, he is the national correspondent for the Daily Signal. He posted this spoof on the Full House intro, and except Marco Rubio is playing all of the roles. Watch this. There's the White House. So here's Administrator of USAID, Marco Rubio. Archivist of the United States, Marco Rubio. Secretary of State, also Marco Rubio. National Security Advisor, also Marco Rubio. Chief Capitol Inspector, also Marco Rubio. Supreme Court Justice, maybe, Marco Rubio. CIA coup coordinator, Marco Rubio. And Pope, Marco Rubio. I mean, what else can Marco Rubio do? Someone just said head of ATF to end it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, seriously, there's so much that he can do. All right, well, scrolling time is coming up, but first I want to tell you about Blackout Coffee. Coffee lovers, this is the good stuff. You know I love my coffee. I've got it right here. It's in my nightly scroll mug. Please hold. That's good. That's good. And that's why I'm all about Blackout Coffee. They're a small batch, family-owned roastery right here in Florida, crafting bold, premium coffee that actually delivers on flavor. I'm serious. So whether you like it strong and black, that's how I'm taking it right now, or smooth with a little cream, they have got the perfect roast for you. And they ship fresh to all 50 states, so wherever you are, you can get your hands on it. And because you scroll with the homies, you can get 20% off your first order. Just use code Haley, Hayley, at checkout, or hit up blackoutcoffee.com/Haley to grab your bag. Seriously, guys, I'm drinking it right now. I drink it in the studio almost every day. I'm obsessed with it. So stop drinking weak coffee. Make the switch to Blackout Coffee today. blackoutcoffee.com/Haley. Use code Haley for 20% off your first order. All right, homies, it's that time. Scrolling time. Someone in the chat just said, just started the coffee, love the cold brew. Amazing. I love it. Now, the first video that I have for you today. Do you remember the game Hangman? Is that what it's called? Hangman, when you guess the letters? I think that is. I remember Hangman. So this young daughter is playing Hangman, except she's using what looks like her mom's lipstick, and she's writing the word that's supposed to be queen on her dad's head, except she gets her R's and N's confused. Watch this. Okay, queen is supposed to have an N, but nope, she goes in with an R.
No. Oh. What?
Oh, she just wrote queer on her dad's head. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even know it. All right, this next video, this woman, she posted this on TikTok talking about Candace Owens, Joe Rogan, Dave Portnoy. How dare they vote for Trump and then disagree with him? Watch.
That
it says
was rude.
Candace Owens.
That was pretty fucking rude.
Joe Rogan and Dave Portnoy finally speak up. How dare they? Well, I have an answer for her because Candace Owens, Joe Rogan, and Dave Portnoy, they're allowed to vote for Donald Trump and then disagree with him because this is what free thinkers do. Also, it's very rare that a candidate is everything you've dreamed of, right? You vote, you go to the polls because you believe in the policies, or at least most of the policies, of the candidate that you're voting for. You don't have to agree with everything that they do. So why is it that Democrats, they have this mob mentality? And I also want to ask, I actually find it really humanizing when someone breaks with the mob, because that means that they are free thinkers and they're not following mob mentality and mob rule. They're not into this cancel culture, one-track mind kind of thinking. I appreciate that. I don't have to agree. But Dave Portnoy has been pretty outspoken about the tariffs, and Candace Owens has been pretty outspoken about some free speech issues. Because I'm a free speech absolutist, I actually like when people are allowed to say what they want, and I encourage that. It's interesting because this Democrat on TikTok is talking about, well, how dare Joe Rogan and Dave Portnoy and Candace Owens, how dare they endorse Trump and then walk it back? None of these people have walked back or regretted their vote for Trump. They're just disagreeing with one issue, and different issues at that. I'd also ask this Democrat, do you really think that conservatives who are free thinkers are voting for Trump because Candace Owens told them to? Do you really think that people listening to Joe Rogan's podcast were so on the fence about who to vote for, but then Joe Rogan told them what to do and then they went and did it? Do you really think the frat guys who consume Barstool Sports content, do you really think that they weren't going to vote for Trump anyway? because I don't need a celebrity or someone in Hollywood or a podcaster to tell me what to do. And I'm sure most conservatives feel the same way. You make your own decisions, you do your own research, and then you go to the polls and you feel good about the candidate that you're voting for because you've made the decision yourself. I just think it's funny, and they just don't get it. They don't get it at all. Everyone on the left thinks like, oh, well, people are going to listen to Joe Rogan and then they're going to take horse medicine. That's what CNN thought. And of course, maybe some people did, but maybe some people didn't. It's not this mob rule, but this is what they do on the left. They think, oh, great. Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. All the Swifties are going to go vote for Kamala Harris. Well, guess what? They didn't. Because the American people know that Hollywood and celebrities and people who make a lot more money than them, people who are in a different tax bracket than them, they probably vote differently than the average person, than the average blue-collar, hardworking American who lives in a flyover state and not in New York or California. So get real. Now, this is another video. This guy had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie. He had a message for people who voted for Trump. Watch.
If you voted for Donald Trump, that means that you stand for everything that is going on in our country right now. That you stand for all these tariffs, that you stand for this mass deportation, that you stand for getting men out of women's sports. I mean, the list goes on and on. You actually stand for this. If you voted for Trump, you actually stand for this. And if you voted for Trump, I just want to say that I love you and thank you so much for saving this country. Have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day. There we go. The perfect excuse for a bald eagle screech. I love it. Yeah, he had me in the first half. I'm not going to lie. I was like, yeah, you actually support this? You actually stand for this? I'm like, yes, yes, and yes. Check, check, check. And then he's one of us. So I love it. Now I'm getting into the blind reactions. I have not watched these videos. These have been submitted by you, my homies. So hit me with the first one.
Who did this mess? Cody, did you make this mess?
Oh, Reese! Get over here.
Did you chew up this pillow?
Reese looks guilty. These are all very guilty dogs.
Who did this?
Who did this? Bliss. Who did this? Who did this? Bliss.
Who made all this mess? Hugo did it.
Ratting out his brother.
Who did that?
He's like, okay, sorry, Mom, that was me. If you're listening to the show and not watching the show, these are just a compilation of very cute dogs that have pulled all the stuffing out of their beds and made a mess and ripped up or ate pillows, and they look very guilty. I love it. Oh, dogs are so cute. They're very smart too. I love when there's two dogs in the video and one of them made the mess and the other dog actually points to the dog who made the mess. I mean, seriously, that is good. That is good. All right, let's see the next one.
You
gotta hold still, buddy.
52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, and here comes the worst part! 59.
This is a little boy getting a shot.
No, I like looking, that's my thing. It's okay, just get it over with, get it over with. Oh.
No, it wasn't
that bad, actually.
It wasn't that bad.
I guess I'm used to shots.
Oh, I remember being so afraid of getting shots when I was little. And I went to a doctor, and one of the doctors told me, when you're 12 years old, you won't care. And that kind of stuck with me. I was like, really? 12 years old? That's when you stop caring about getting shots? I still don't like getting shots, but I remember turning 12 and remembering what that doctor told me. And I was like, all right, this is the time I'm supposed to stop caring now. And it kind of worked. It kind of worked. All you have to do is not look. I mean, the kid's looking straight at it. It's scary when you see it. They should have told him, look away. Someone just said, I'm a big sissy when it comes to needles. Yeah, it looks awful when it's coming right at you. All you have to do is just look the other way, and then it doesn't hurt that bad. It's never really that bad. And as someone who's gotten my ears pierced multiple times, I mean, you just get over it. It's really not that bad. It's so fast. All right. Do we have another one? Let's go. Oh, we've got another dog video. Oh! That dog just bit his brother's balls.
I haven't seen that one either. For the Mikey put that one in. I haven't seen it either.
Oh my gosh, that's not a good surprise. That's not a good surprise. You have to know that it's coming. Uh-oh. Ouch. Is there another one? One more. Okay, last one. Oh, we've got a kitty cat that is scaring a bear. Now we've got a dog scaring an alligator. A dog totally crashing out over a squirrel. Go get him. Go get him. Cat versus fox. Ooh. Dog versus... What is that? Can't even see. Is it a bird? Oh! Oh, it's a cat. Oh! The cat scared the dog. Ooh! Come here! All these dogs, their bark is worse than their bite, I think. If you're listening to the show, these are dogs on one side of the window and another animal outside. So, all right. Well, I really liked those. Thank you for sending those in. I did put up another Ask Me Anything on my Instagram. So I figured I would go through and answer some of your questions. I saw one question go by in the chat. Someone said, have you ever played TPC Sawgrass and what was your score? I have never played TPC Sawgrass. I've never been, but I would like to one day. I walked in today and I hit some golf balls before I got here. And Andy said, you look like your Pinehurst sign today. And that's because I played golf today. Well, I just hit on the range, but someone did ask earlier today, how can we send appreciation to the Silverlock team? You posted it before, but I forgot. So if you want to send anything to me, Avita, Vince, it is Bongino, P.O. Box 1003, Palm City, Florida, 34990. And if you didn't remember that, that's okay. You can go to my Instagram story, screenshot it. It's there right now. So that was one of the questions. Someone just asked, how long have you been playing golf? I think I've been playing golf since I was 5 or 6, probably 6 years old. Definitely 7, I was playing golf. But I got a hole-in-one in high school in a golf match. It was 150 yards. I hit an 8-iron, and it was incredible. I just absolutely dunked it. I'll never experience something like that high ever again. And after I got my hole-in-one, because I preferred playing tennis at the time, so I decided, well, I'll just quit golf because I'm never going to get any better than that. Like, I peaked in high school. So I quit. And I probably only played like 2 or 3 times throughout college and beyond. And then when I moved to Nashville, I started playing golf more often because I met one of my friends, Olivia, who played with me, and that was fun. And now that I live in Florida and it's nice out, I can play golf more often. So I'm trying to get back into it. And you can watch my progress on Instagram. I post videos and on TikTok. Someone said, have you bought a gun yet? Florida can get kind of rowdy. I have not bought a gun, but thanks to Avita, I have a burn-a-gun. So if you also want a burn-a-gun, what is her code, Avita? Use code Avita at burn-a-gun. You can get a burn-a-gun too, just like me. Let's see. If you could time travel once and be anywhere at a past event, where and why? That's a great question. I would have to say like a party during the Roaring 20s. I feel like that would be very cool. I feel like that would be fun. What about you guys? Where would you want to go? Someone else asked, favorite adult beverage? Favorite adult beverage? I would have to say, I love a glass of Chardonnay. I love a glass of Pinot Grigio or Cabernet if we're doing red. I like rosé too. I really don't discriminate when it comes to wine. I like a high noon or like a seltzer. Those are fun. I like dirty martinis, espresso martinis, and spicy margaritas. But I don't drink that much. I don't drink during the week. And I usually only drink one day on the weekend. I try to limit it because I don't like how I feel in the morning and I want to be active and go to the gym and do something. So yeah, I don't drink that often. But when I do, those are my favorites. Let's see. How many tacos are you putting down in one sitting? That's an interesting question. I would say I like burrito tacos, but I actually don't think tacos give you the bang for your buck that a burrito or a quesadilla does. Because when you get tacos, they come in like that little thing, and you get 3 of them. And I feel like anytime that I have tacos, I'm hungry or I want more than 3. So I feel like if you get a burrito, you get more food, or quesadilla, you get more food. So I'm really not a taco girl. I love Mexican food, but I'll just fill up on some other things. Is that controversial to say? I feel like people are really kind of cult-like about tacos. What was the one deciding factor to take this job? Well, I love Dan, and Paula's been so great. And I've spent my entire career producing other people's shows. I worked for Sean Hannity. I worked for Sean Spicer. I worked for Tommy Lahren. I worked for Clay Travis. I worked for a bunch of different people overseeing shows. My last job, I overseed about 6+ podcasts, and I was trying to do my own content on the side. So I would do a weekly YouTube show, and then it just became too much. And Dan offered me an opportunity to have my own show. Now I just get to focus on producing for moi. And that's the dream job. So I'm living the dream. So that's why I took this job. And I feel like that's a good question to end on. So thank you so much for being here and spending your Friday evening with me. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend and a safe weekend. And in the meantime, you can follow me on social media at Haley Carania on Truth Social, on X, on TikTok, and on Instagram. Of course, you have to, I can't end the show without reminding you, go to Bongino Report channel, subscribe there. Rumble.com/Haley is where you can watch the show with all of my homies in the chat. You can catch up on the show whenever you want. If you want to watch it, it's got to be on Rumble exclusive. But if you want to listen, of course, you can do that on your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe so that you never miss a show. And I will see you on Monday.